Hey everybody. Okay, here we are. I'm with Rebecca Johns, Foot Traffic Performance Nutritionist, and we're just going to talk about this phase of the season that you're in at the moment. So we're currently sitting in, for most of you, would be an off season, and there's some important things to understand through this time of the year. You're still training. But your training is a little bit different to what it would have been through the peak season. So some of you may have come down off a key event, and you're now in that, we won't call it a lull because you're still ticking along pretty well. But it's just a time where you're not training as much. The load isn't quite as much in your body, but your nutritional awareness is still extremely high. So let's just have a talk to a little bit about that. What are your thoughts on that time of year?
Yeah, so I think for each athlete it's going to be different, but just understanding that your load is going to be down, so your energy requirements probably aren't going to be as high, and you want to use your off season to build and improve and not come into your in season in a worse shape than you left it last time. So just being able to make like a little alterations in your diet to account for the slightly lower energy output. And I think it's still really important to fuel for your training sessions and not to completely cut out a macronutrient group or stress too much about that kind of body fat gain, but making sure that you look at the week ahead and understand when you need those like fuel ups for your harder sessions, and when we can maybe find places to pull it back a little bit to mean that you are accounting for the fact that there's maybe like a little bit less volume coming on whilst we go into this season, and make sure that you kind of set yourself up really well to go into the
next phase.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at where a season will finish, and you may have been training for 6, maybe 9 months at a fairly high level, there is going to be a time where your body's still under a lot of stress after that.
Yeah.
And even though you're not working out, your body is still adapting to, or is still affected by the impact of that training and that event. So I imagine the quality of the food's really important. So again, like you said, we're not trying to cut things out of the diet. Use a good balance of meat and veggies. Unless you're vegetarian, different subject.
Don't do that then.
Yeah, but I think it's a good opportunity to just eat normal food and enjoy your food. And I don't know about what your thoughts are, but in training, particularly the longer aerobic sessions, I don't really rely on sports fuel, so I wouldn't be having my Cliff Bars or my Cliff Gels or my blocks through that time, but I'll be having a ham and cheese sandwich when I'm on a long ride or something, or just bananas or something basic like that. Is that something that you find is useful?
Yeah, so I always think for like these kind of off-season training blocks, when like the real hard nuts and bolts of performance aren't your goal, food first. Like, why would you spend money on supplements if you don't have to? I always approach things with a food first strategy. Obviously that's not going to be your race day or kind of those really intense training blocks in the peak of your training program, but I think focusing on getting in really good quality food, enjoy yourself, have a bit more balance. Like, it is your off season, so performance isn't such a high priority. It means that you can get a beer in and like have a roast on a Sunday with your family and not feel guilty about it. Just understanding when you need to fuel up, and if we are kind of pulling those calories back a little bit to facilitate adaptation and to accommodate for the kind of lower training volume, then making sure that the calories we are getting in are really good quality, because you're not only coming into off season, you're coming into winter. So just making sure that you are eating like really good food and eating enough of it is going to be really important for keeping you well and keeping your training like ticking over.